Well, what a pleasure it is to talk to Don Kozeny, Kozeny-Wagner. This is synonymous around town with construction, and I thought it'd be fun, Don, to get the whole story here because we're coming up on 60 years. I want to go back to 1965, and we're not far from the arch here. This is really sort of where it all begins for Kozeny-Wagner. Tell folks who have seen your brand and seen your work over the decades now, how did it start?
How we got started? Well, it was a kind of a opportunity that I saw that I took advantage of. My background was basically in construction. From growing up, my father was a carpenter superintendent all the way through summer jobs in construction, and then getting a degree in civil engineering, being an officer in the Army Corps of Engineers, and then finally as an engineer for the city. I was able to see projects from the design all the way through to the actual construction. And how I got started, like I say, my background was engineering. The opportunity that I saw when I was working for the city was that there weren't enough qualified contractors bidding the public works projects. And I saw that, and I thought about my background. I says, well, if these guys are making money, I can make some money too. So that was my mindset, that I wanted to start a general contracting firm. Well, I had a good friend, Rich Wagner. Rich and I had known each other since kindergarten. We went through St. Michael's School in Shrewsbury, went to St. Mary's High School down in South Grant, all together, back and forth in cars, getting there. And on graduating from St. Mary's, I went to Rolla to get my degree. And then Rich took a different path. He decided he was going to go into the construction part. He was a laborer, he started out. Then he moved up to a cement finisher, and then eventually he had his own concrete company. So I wanted to start a construction company. We still hung out together, so over a few beers we're talking, and he says, yeah, he wanted to have a construction company, general contractor, because when he put his bids together and gave it to the contractor, he thought that they were shopping them. Mm-hmm. So he's talking like that, I'm talking like this, and we decide, hey, if we go together, maybe we can make something out of this.
How many times did you guys say that, though? How many times did you say, we should start a company, and then you go home and go to bed, and get up the next day and go to work? A couple weeks later, we should start it. How many times do you think you went?
Well, I say over the course of about two months at least, that we went back and forth. And, normally we'd see each other a couple times a week, and sometimes we'd talk about it, sometimes we wouldn't. But finally it came down to it that we thought we could do it. So Rich and I sat down and said, well, how are we going to do it? How are we going to structure it? And I said, well, if I'm going to do it, I want to run it. And he says, well, if we're going to do it, I want to be able to do the concrete work. I said, it sounds like a deal. I'll be president and run it. You be vice president, and we'll use R.V. Wagner Concrete Company as long as we're competitive. So that was our deal going in. And then what? We had to get a company up and going. So we decided we would have to get incorporated. And we said, hey, this is going to cost us some money. We each put in $500.
Which is a ton of money in 1965.
Yeah, back then. I didn't have $500 back then.
Still a lot of money, yeah.
My parents previously had given me a life insurance policy. And it was right close to $500 cash value. So I cashed that in, got the $500, and that was my $500 deal. And then we also made an agreement that we wouldn't take any money out until it was profitable. When I was working for the city, I was contributing to the retirement plan. So I took that money out, and that was what me and my family were going to have to live on until we got profitable.
That's kind of nerve-wracking, isn't it?
Well, my wife Nancy had 2 children at the time. Christine was 5 and Jeff was 3. And I talked to her about it, and she says, go for it. Mm. So I had her blessing, and even though we had to scrape around a little bit, I can remember we didn't have everything furnished. We had a card table, and when she cut the meat, I'd have to hold the card table. Same way around like that, yeah.
Was the Arch one of the first clients or an Arch project?
We had a couple projects before that, but the Arch was a real nice project for us. We did a lot of the exterior groundwork and lakes, ponds, sidewalks, trees, and we did a lot of work down. After that job, we had an interesting project. They wanted a theater, but the only place they could put it was in rock. But they didn't want us to use pneumatic or explosives or anything like that because it was destroy the integrity of the arch foundation. So at that time, Rolla was doing some research and development on pneumatic cutting of stone. So we looked at that, and we said, yeah, we'll try it because we can't use anything else. We got to try something. And so we used that, the entire process, to remove all the rock to make room for the theater. And I thought that was kind of an interesting type project at the Arch. Yeah, we also did the museum down under the Arch. If you ever had the opportunity to visit, it's really, really a neat deal. So, while we over the period of years, from the beginning almost to it is now, we've had various projects on it.
What did St. Louis look like then? Because the Busch Stadium 2 was just coming along and opened in '66, I think. Arch is just coming. Was the city really kind of in development? Was it a changing landscape downtown at that time?
Yes. When I went to work for the city, the population was around 900,000. Wow. What is it today? A little less than 300. So it has evolved. It has evolved in construction ways and people moving out. You talk about getting the stadium. We had a contract on the south side of the stadium. I believe it's Walnut Street, and they have a big entrance there to get into the stadium. Well, we're paving Walnut Street, getting the final asphalt thing down. Well, here they come with a big tractor trailer for the scoreboard. It was supposed to open like in 3 or 4 days. They had to get the scoreboard. And I'm screaming, they can't cross over the asphalt.
You're not messing with my street. I just got this done.
So after some screaming, they agreed to repair all the damage. But they had to get the scoreboard in there and get going. But that's what I remember about the new stadium.
So every time you go by the Arch over the last almost 60 years, and you've done other projects there too, do you always kind of glance at it? Do you have a certain affinity to the Arch that maybe some people don't just because of that early bond and the early work?
Yeah. The work we did, I'm very proud of that we worked on that. People don't know. After it's built, they don't know who the contractor is anymore and that. But yes, I'm proud of the work we did there. Yeah.
You've done hospitals and high schools and colleges and that, again, you're right, the contractor, once it's done, it's just a build. But you can always kind of look at it and say, give me some of your projects over the years you've really enjoyed, not only the process, but maybe the end result too, that you're proud of.
Oh, some of the job. I guess one of the few that stick out in my mind is Big Cats Country in the zoo. That was one of our early projects. And we had, it was a lot of different things happened there. One, when it was finished, there was a moat between the cats and the public. And they weren't too sure that moat was sufficient. So the first week that they had the cats in there, they had a guy with a special rifle out there. You know,
and we're talking big cats with big claws.
Yeah, I'm tigers and lions and stuff like that. And so they were there to make sure they couldn't make that leap. And when we were finished with the project, we said, let's get all the workers and people that worked on it and their families to come on down for a Sunday brunch. So we had them all down there, and the zoo sent their people over with animals to go through there. They had snakes around their necks and lions on their leashes and stuff like that. The kids just loved it. Of course, the parents loved it because the kids did. So Big Cat Country was.
How do they know what's the right? I'm glad you're an engineer because I've been down there. I've wondered that. I've looked in there and said, boy, that's a pretty good sized ditch and gully. And what is the math on that? How do they?
Well,
you lean on the animal people, I guess.
Yes, that's right. We don't experiment with it. We like you say, we rely on the experts on the thing like that.
But universities around town, even down at Mizzou, and high schools and CBC, and those are institutions that are going to live on for a long time too.
We did a lot of work up at Mizzou and their journalism building. You mentioned CBC. We did work there. But Back then, they used to have a rifle range. And we did some work on that. Yeah, and UMSL, we did a multi-story dormitory for them up there. We've done a lot of work. We did work out at Mercy and Ballas. Yeah, all around we've done, you name it, we've probably done something in that particular.
And I've noticed too, even the Great Rivers and Greenway, and again, more arch space, a lot of stuff that's user-friendly too.
Yeah.
That's got to be kind of cool legacy.
Yeah, we have worked with the Greenway and several projects, actually doing the work and as construction manager on a lot of them. And we're actually looking at a few right now that we want to do on it.
Did it help because you had worked in City Hall, that they knew you, and that maybe when you're bidding it, you still got to give them a good bid, but that they kind of trusted you and your new company?
Right. Well, I was fortunate. When I went to Rolla, I knew a lot of guys. And then, of course, when I graduated, then most of these guys migrated to different governmental agencies and cities and whatever to be their engineers. So even if I didn't know the guy from Rolla, we had a common thing. You know, I'm from Rolla, you graduated a couple years before me. Oh, I remember you this or that. And so I had a lot of contacts then. And working for the city, I had learned how public works contracts work. It's different than residential or commercial work. It's kind of a completely different process. But I learned how to do that. I had the connections basically through Rolla. And I was able to make contacts and get the opportunity to bid the work, but, because they trusted me. And, we were fellow engineers, so to speak.
And how much in your industry is it reputation? Because if you get a bad rep, it's going to be tough to shake it. Obviously, to last this long and projects you can point to, how important is that, the reputation? When they just say that name and they know, okay, they do good work.
I think it is very, very important. From when we started the company, we said we're in here for the long haul. We may take some hits or something along the way, but we're going to make everything right and be proud of the work we're going to do. You got to admit, sometimes the job gets screwed up, but you have to take the bite and get it fixed up and go right. I can remember a few like that. But we always did what was right, and I think people, an example, the Subcontractors Association has voted us Contractor of the Year numerous times. Actually, the last 2 years back to back, they have voted us the General Contractor Year. And the criteria is pretty stiff, 8 or 9 different things. I can't remember them all, but, your bidding practice, that you didn't shop any bids, that you paid on time, that your supervision was properly, safety was good. It went on and on. They're tough boxes to check all the time. But in our category, they named us General Contractor of the Year multiple times. In fact, I don't even know how many, but I know it's been a lot. And we thank them for doing it. But we have a good relationship with the guys. We pay our bills on time. That helps. In other words, if the subcontractor has got a choice to go to our job or somebody else's job, they know we pay on time. They're going to go to our job first.
How's the industry changed? How hard is it harder to get good workers? Is it harder to get the winning bid? What's changed the most?
Well, let's start with the workers that you mentioned. All our people, or everybody's people that's employed, say carpenters, let's take that for example. They're leaving with a lot of knowledge, how to do mill work, things like that. The younger guys coming in still have to learn a lot of that stuff. And we do a lot of bridge work. It's the same way. You got the guys that are experienced, just the little detailed things that have to be done, they have to pass that knowledge on to the new generation. And like everybody else, you have trouble finding qualified people to do that. That's kind of the changing. I don't know. The bidding process is changed completely. Back when we started bidding, I'll take our company for example. How do we decide what jobs to bid? They had a service called Dodge Bids, and they would put out once a week a list of all the various contracts that were being bid for in around the city and municipalities in our public works area. So we would go through that list and say, hey, we'll pick out one. I think we can do this. Okay, what's our next step? We have to go to a bonding company and say, do you think you can bond us for this? And they say, yeah, okay. So then we go ahead and select the subcontractors we want to bid with us and the material suppliers, equipment, and that. And so we got all that. And so we put it together, and maybe I'm getting too, but anyway, we'd put the bid together, we'd have it. And let's take the city, for example. They would have their openings on Tuesdays at 12 o'clock. So you would have to get your bid in. They had a box on a counter, and you had a slot where you put your bid in. At 12 o'clock, they'd swoop it off,
Wow.
then read them all off. Well, we had to get our bid down there in that box by 12 o'clock. So subcontractors and suppliers, they're a little slow in getting prices to us. They don't want us to shop them, so they want to be the last one in. So,
Were there literally people running at were you guys like elbowing to throw your bids in?
Oh,
shoot.
yeah.
Whoops. Knew that might happen.
It was different. Back there, we would put the bid together and all the paperwork, the bid bond and signatures and everything, give it to a runner, send him down there. He had to find a payphone. We never had cell phones back there. He had to find a payphone. We gave him a handful of quarters. And I said, when you get down there, you got to hog this phone, call us what your number is, and then we'll read off the final numbers, and you write them in there. And sometimes there was almost 100 items. So this was tough for this guy. Then he had to run into City Hall, get up on the second floor, and get it in that box. So it was kind of a relay, almost, getting your bid in down there.
Tell me about the friendship, too, with Rich Wagner. You say middle school, grade school, kindergarten. You guys were hitchhiking to high school back in the day. How do you maintain that friendship when you start working together, too? That's tough, right?
We were blessed with a good relationship. I mean, just like any, we'd get crosswise some ways. He had some ideas about doing things. I had some ideas. We worked them out eventually. But you're right. When we went to St. Mary's, we had the closest bus line we could get to was McCall's and Delora, which was a couple miles from Shrewsbury. But there was 5 of us that graduated from St. Mary's that we wanted to that went to St. Mary's. So there was this group. We were on we were different along the way. We would get rides back. After a while, we had regulars that would pick us up.
You're talking hitchhiking, the old days. Literally your thumb out to get to high school.
Out and they'd pick us up. We'd get off at the bus stop, go down to St. Mary's.
So they got to know you, the people driving.
Yeah, we had like I say, we had regulars.
Wow.
Every once in a while they didn't show up. We had to take somebody else. No, and it.
Well, tell me about the friendship beyond even the work, you and Rich, just over the years. Was it fun working together?
Oh, yeah. It was fun if you were making some money. Yes.
Right.
No, he did he did basically the concrete work for Kozeny-Wagner, and that was a coordination job where he had other work too, but we had work. We went down. So Rich contributed a lot to Kozeny-Wagner. It's a shame he's not around to see how well our team is doing now.
And you've got your sons involved. Tell me about the pride continuing the family name in the business.
Well, very proud of it. The succession, I think, is all set up. We got 3 generations in the company right now in key positions. So I feel confident that there's going to be a Kozeny involved for a long time.
Yeah, and think about your legacy, too. What are you most proud of when you think about it'll still be going in
let's
20, 50, 60 years?
I think so. I think I'm most proud of the team that was built. That the people that we have are all qualified professionals. I mean, we have got really good people. And then over the years, we've been able to build on that. And I think that's what I'm most proud of, that the company is got really good people working for.
Did you ever wonder early on, I don't know if this is going to work. Boy, I hope we make it a year. Oh, I hope we make it 5 years. Did you have those thoughts early on?
Absolutely. One time we were really on the ropes. We didn't know if we were going to survive. We were looking.
How far in terms of the business?
It's probably 10 years.
Oh, wow.
And we had a rather large job for MoDOT. And the bid wasn't what it was supposed to be. And it was a struggle to get it finished. And we were kind of losing money on it. And back then we didn't have a lot of money, capital to go. So we were looking around what we could sell and what we could do and what we probably ought to, pack it up after this job. But we stuck through it, got it done, and picked up some other work, and we're back on track. So it's not always easy all the time. Sometimes it gets pretty scary. So those were some of the issues that we would come across, and we would work together. Rich and I would, how are we going to get this? How are we going to get through this and that?
What was the original vision? Part of it is a passion for building, right? And seeing the finished project. Is that something you always, from day one, even now, you like that process of seeing it kind of go up from the ground?
Yeah. Well, like I explained earlier, my background has been construction, and that's what I like. And I like to get out in the field and talk to the people and see how they're going, what new problems are coming up. Sometimes we cooperate and we get together and we say, this job is doing good because, hey, we're doing this. This job is going bad because we're doing this. So we try to correct. And we get reports weekly on how the manpower is going and everything like that. So keeping a good eye on that kind of has made things go a lot smoother. Yeah.
You were in high school in the early 50s. Had to be a fun time in St. Louis. You got Stan the Man. You probably went to Sportsman's Park.
Absolutely.
What was it like being a kid, late 40s into the 50s in St. Louis?
Well, I can remember when the Cardinals played the Browns in the World Series that my grandfather took me down there to watch one of the games. So that was been a long time ago. I would think I was probably about 10 years old or something. But, yeah, you're right.
Were you riding the streetcars back then?
They had streetcars, yeah. Well, he had a car. We had a rough time parking, too.
Okay. You can picture the riverfront like some of us can't, and there was nothing before the arch. No. It's got to be, you're a historian, really, walking around and looking at everything. And the city, like we said, the population has changed, but a lot. You've been to 3 different Cardinal stadiums probably in your lifetime.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
What's your St. Louis vision for the future? What do you hope, as somebody who's built a lot of things?
Well, construction-wise, I think it's difficult. The public works part of it, they need to repair a lot of streets and bridges from an infrastructure part of thing. And that's kind of the work we do. So we can see that that's going to help us. The backside of what they got the problem is, I think, just my opinion, that there's a crime issue and that the issue of the educational system, the public school system. I think those are two strikes that the city's got that they have to get squared away.
You strengthen that, then you strengthen the whole city.
Absolutely. You get younger families coming back, sending their children to the schools, and but right now they need to upgrade that, and they need to address the crime issue.
All right. Was life always fun running this company, being a part of it? And you're never really retired, are you, when your name's on the company? But how much fun has this career been for you?
Lots of fun. I've really enjoyed it. It's been a great ride. I have met just so many wonderful people. And they've helped us along. Of course, a couple guys hurt us, but most of the part, we've been helped by everybody. And because I think you mentioned a reputation, they know that we're in for the long haul, and if there's anything goes wrong, we're going to correct it. Also, I think our reputation is such that we will do the more difficult jobs. The people we have can get a hold of that. The other contractors will look at it, we'll pass and do some box type thing. But I think we do best with unusual jobs or jobs that are more difficult because, like I mentioned, the people we have are capable of coming up with the right solutions for it.
Well, Don, so much fun to hear these stories. Congrats on a great career and on the 60th anniversary for Kozeny-Wagner coming up next year. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate it very much.